All right, good morning, everybody. It is an exciting day, a day I've been waiting for a long time. Start the 550X build today. I have not even taken this thing out of the box, so here we go. Gotta thank the most wonderful wife in the world who got me this as a 40th birthday present. Got some other members of the T-Rex family here for this. Got the trusty T-Rex 300X over there. That guy's been a lot of fun. That's kind of my warm-up, run around, have fun with helicopter. And then, of course, the trusty 500X. That thing has been great. I put a lot of flights on that. And then, of course, built in the fall here was the T-Rex 650. And now, here we have the T-Rex 550X. With the helicopter, I also ordered 3 battery trays. Oh no, 4 battery trays. They came in packages of 2, so there's 4 of them. I ordered it from the Align T-Rex shop. So there's their little note, and they put in the box here. Got to give a shout out to Gail from Gail Align. He's been a source for some time now through the T-Rex forum, through the Align forum on the Facebook page. I've posted some questions on there and just little things that I've ran into during the builds, and he has answered and helped me out and got me through some questions. And so when it came time to order up the 550 kit, he was the first person I thought of. So got this box here. Now, I'm not going to be doing the Micro Beast. I'm not going to be using the Micro Beast. Looks like this is the most current and recent version 5. I'm going to be going with the Icon. Just my FBL of choice. But it looks like this kit does include the latest and greatest version of it. And so there's that. So this is the first box to come out. We're just going to open it up, and we're going to go in here, and we've got our main gear set here, and just taking a look, just making sure the gear set is all good. There's no teeth missing. Everything looks good. Got our one nut there for the that goes through the bottom of the gear. Okay, everything looks good there. And this is our main shaft with the 2 spacers that are included. And there it looks like the top of our swash plate. So looks good. Now, of course, with all the Align helicopters, the swash plate is assembled, but it's not Loctited at all. So, but everything is there. All the parts are together, and then I'll just need to get them out and disassemble them and put Loctite on everything. So all that looks good. I am going to keep that out because we'll need that almost right away. Next bag out is 55 HB10, and this is another bag that we're going to keep out because we're going to need almost right away, except for this. This won't be till the end. But here we've got our head block top piece right here. And so this is how everything comes with an Align kit, which is really nice. Like, you don't get a bag of screws with these kits. All these screws are in these pieces. So all you have to do is take them out and put Loctite on them and put them back in. But we'll go over that during the build video. But all the pieces look really good. There's a line etched right in the head block there. Everything looks really good. The spacers the bearings are already installed. And then they use that anaerobic sealant, Loctite, to put them in. So they are already in there. We'll take this and set this aside because this is something that we'll be using almost right away. Going further in the box, we've got what I usually call the forward transmission. And this bag is sealed, so we're not going to open it. There's all the bolts for the transmission. Everything looks good. There's our forward umbrella gear. Everything looks good there. And here is our 55 FLH7 bag, which has our head block in it. So we're going to keep that out as well because that's going to be our first stop. This isn't going to come till a little bit later, so we're going to put it away. Actually, I'm just going to put this stuff out here for now, I guess. And we'll put this back over here. So next we'll take a look at the electronic package. This is the kit that has the aluminum cased servos. So there they are. We've got our HV brushless servos. The other thing I like about these servos is that they have these black leads on them. Black plastic coated servo leads. So usually when I do a build, like, I'll put like a stretch compression covering over the servo wires. But with the Align build, no need to do that. The other thing that's nice is, as you can see here, these come with the aluminum servo horns, which is really nice. These are the DS820M digital servos, and actually they come right with the aluminum servo horns. And there's you've got our 3 cyclic servos, and then you've got the one black tail servo right there, which is the DS825M. Of course, like I said, the aluminum cased version of these parts. Slide it out of this bag here. So they come in a bag, and then the bag comes in bubble wrap and then in a box. This stuff is really well packaged. It looks like you've got a servo horn for all the cyclics, but for the tail, you do have the older plastic servo horn. So I'm sure we'll be cutting 3 of those off and doing that number there. So take these and put them here. This box has our motor in it. Here it is. It's quite a motor. BL730MX. I'm not going to take it out of here right now. We'll just keep it in the plastic in here for now. The bullet connectors are already installed, which is kind of a nice thing with the Align stuff. It's like you don't even have to do the bullet connectors. You can see the connections are done perfectly. Just everything is really well done and everything is ready to go. I like these bullet connectors. They work really well. I am not sponsored by Align, by the way, just a hobbyist. So here is our speed control. This is the RCE BL100 amp. So the 650 has the 130 in it, but I believe the 100 is pretty much the same line of servo. It's the same type of servo. And there's our cooling fan there. Looks like, yep, our bullet connectors are all already on. This is sealed, so I'm not, I guess we'll take a quick look at this. As you can see, our bullet connectors are already pre-installed and look good. Very good. I don't see any gaps at all. The shrink is all shrunk down very well. If we look at the ends here, it's right down to the ends the way it needs to be. So everything looks good there. Now this speed control has a wire for programming, and that will plug in right there. And I have the Align program box, and so I will be so step one will be to calibrate the ESC, and then step two, I will be setting up a governor on this and setting up the governing. So everything looks all good with this, and this is just a little fan here in a separate package. I'm just going to put this back in here for now. And again, there's a servo. We'll take one of these out and take a look at it. These are the aluminum cased servos. Man, they are really good looking. Get the sticker here, QC pass, do not disassemble. Just really nice. All aluminum case servo, metal gears inside. As I said before, these servo wires are pre-cased, so no need to put like a compression cabling on them or anything. Everything's all ready to go. Really, really nice servos. Here's a better look at one of the horns. Just aluminum servo horns. And so these guys are all ready to go. I'm going to leave this stuff in here for now. I'll put this right here. So next we'll take a look. Our frame set is in the bottom of the box, and this is going to be pretty much what we start with the head and then we move to the frame. So first the head and then the frame. And the frame sets look really good. I don't see, I'm going to go ahead and open this. I've already reviewed the manual for this helicopter, which when we get into the build, we'll talk about a couple of things. But here is the frame set right out of the box. Looks really good. I don't see a need. It doesn't look like it needs to be wiped down. You got a little bit. Maybe I'll wipe it down before but the sides of it, everything looks good. You have these plastic servo housings that are, prefabbed into the frame. That's pretty neat. And then up here, you've got the plastic servo housing and then a little grommet around the frame hole for the servo cord lead to go through. So, it used to be you would take like a piece of plastic shrink tubing or something and put it over where it went through the carbon fiber, but Align has now included a plastic ring around there, so there's no need to add anything like that. So that's pretty neat. They've taken some of the and it looks like the screws they will go right into the little fixture that they've built into the frame. So that's pretty neat. I was not aware of that. It's different than the 650. So that's cool right there. The head block will integrate right through this plastic frame here. So that's pretty neat. Again, that's different than the 650. And then, of course, this piece here integrates for your battery tray. And then this is something I want to take a look at too. They've integrated these holes into the frame. You get holes here, here, and here to run your wires inside of the helicopter. Okay, opposed to outside. And I was kind of thinking, I was surprised. I didn't really see anything that really talked about this in the manual, but they're definitely distinct pre-made frame holes for running the electronic wires on the inside. So I'm going to take advantage of that. And I'll tell you the thing I noticed, I've seen these holes on a lot of other helicopters. They look a little bit larger here, which is perfect because I've had to like kind of ream them out before to get or have to really just pull really hard to pull the zip ties through, and then they're kind of crushed. So these holes look like they're the perfect size. I won't even have to do either one of those things with these. So we've kind of got our servo mounting bracket pre-made into the frame and integrated into the frame. And you've got a grommet for where the wire will come through the frame, pre-made into the frame. And then you've got a route to send your wires up to your flight controller. It's all kind of hashed out for you. It's all there, you know, and you've got your platform for your flight controller. And I think it's terrific. I don't know, it just feels like some helicopters where all this stuff is going to go is an afterthought. Whereas with this one, they've kind of mapped it all out for you. So looks great. Can't wait to get going on that. I'll go ahead and pop this second bag open here. So there is the two frame sides. I'm going to take a quick look at this one. Again, plastic framing looks good. I don't see like any splintering or any misshape in the frame. Looks good. We've got some kind of a serial number here, which is nice. And again, you've got a grommet for your servo horn, your servo wire built right into the frame. So that can go right through there. That's nice. And again, on the other side, you've got these zip tie tracks for routing those wires inside the helicopter, which is neat. I can't wait to get that set up. So those are the frame sides. We'll get those over there. And over here. Put our ESC programmer over there. We won't need that for a while. And let's take a look in here. This should be our Canopy Box. And it is. Set our... Looks like the T-Rex shop put some extra packaging in around this canopy. This is the front of the frame where the ESC will mount in there, and they've already pre-drilled the holes for mounting the ESC, and you've got your FBL platform, you know, pre-made and all ready to go, which is nice. And then look at your battery tray, which has a button on it. Push, and there it releases your battery tray. So that's pretty neat. That's not clicking. And then we've got 55 FLZ here, where this is like your multi-accessory pack in there. You got your pinion gear in there. You've got some double-sided Velcro in there, and then you got a package of zip ties, you know, probably for running those wires. You have your linkage arm tool. You can pop on the ball link arms so that you can twist them on there without having to use your fingers if you want to use that. It's actually not bad if you're trying to, you know, bust out all 5 of them. It's not a bad little tool. So that they include that tool in the kit, which is nice. We've got our manual in here. Now, just so you guys know, you can download your manuals and get them, like so. Here's mine on my iPad, and I went through this last night for about an hour, hour and a half, and I looked through all this stuff here, and there is some stuff in this manual that, to me, I think could be a little different. But we'll talk about that as we go. There's our manual. We'll put that over there. Oh, wow, look at this. I love the design of this canopy. This is a really good-looking canopy. So we've got, again, the T-Rex shop has included a lot of extra packaging here around the canopies. Look at that. Boy, that is beautiful. That is really something. That is a good-looking canopy. There is not a blemish on this canopy. Now, the T-Rex shop, they're in Ontario, California, which is an interesting story. I was not too happy after I ordered it, and I thought it was coming from Ontario, Canada. I actually called Gail and talked to him, and he says it's Ontario, California. So, but what a beautiful canopy. It's got like the chrome letters inset, and they're really nice. The stickering on them is a high quality sticker. Not something that's going to come off. The 650 has the same type of thing. And then you've got the paint, which is like a pearl color, and then, obviously the blue. So it's basically a red, white, and blue canopy theme, which I really like the red, white, and blue theme myself. I did order from Royal Canopy a orange and yellow colored canopy. I find that in the winter time, the red and the white can be a little harder to keep an eye on, or I'm sorry, the white and the blue can be a little harder to keep an eye on in the winter time. You want more of a red and orange, so I do have a red and orange canopy coming for this. I'll clip in a picture, but there it is. So they ship this from Ontario, California, right here to upstate New York, and there is not a blemish on this thing. This thing is absolutely flawless. So they definitely took care in packaging it and adding some extra bubble wrap here, as you can see. They added a bunch of extra bubble wrap. So we've got, I'll just set this aside for a minute. I believe this lax box just has the main blades in it, and we will take a look at them. I do want to just check them out. So here we've obviously got the tail fixture and the tail blades. I'm going to keep this all sealed up for now. And again, here's, just another example. The way Align does things, this is all assembled and comes together assembled, but it's not Loctited, right? So this thing has to be completely disassembled and then reassembled. And I learned my lesson on the 650, and this little tiny brass screw right there, I failed to take out, and about the 5th or 6th hover flight, that screw came out, and I did some damage to that helicopter. So won't be making that same mistake again with this one. Make sure that you take every last component apart, down to the ball links, everything, and make sure it's Loctited. But just initial observation on this tail is like, it's everything you'd want it to be. Nothing needs to be upgraded here. Everything is aluminum. This control arm is aluminum. Everything is just, it looks great. I can't wait to take it apart and Loctite it and get it back together. Here we've got our tail boom support, and then we've got our tail fin, all carbon fiber, not like it's coming with plastic and then you have to replace it later. All carbon fiber. So that's nice. That's really nice that all these parts are basically just, they're exactly what you would want. A lot of, you know, other helicopters, you have to pay extra for these parts and buy them separately. But it's been my experience with the Aligns, and one of the reasons I like everything in this kit is the way I want it. Nothing really needs to be replaced. And then we've got our skid set here, our 550 skid set. Looks good. It's got the angled supports you can see, so you got the front set of skids that are shorter than the back, and it gives the helicopter that pitched forward 5-degree cant. And so here's everything out on the table, ready to go. I'll be using all of this except the Micro Beast. I'll be using the Icon with it. But other than that, that's the unboxing. Everything looks great. Again, got to give a shout out to the T-Rex shop, Align T-Rex shop. They did a great job packaging this thing up and got it out to me, and it's definitely good to go. Specifically, Gale, or Align Gale. I got to give him a shout out. He's you know, been a great source of information on these helicopters and anything that I've had a question with. One thing I don't see, oh, here we go. It's in this bag here. Let's talk about this real quick, because we're going to have to open this bag immediately anyways. So, one of the things that's going to come in this kit, I finally got an answer to, right? And so this is T43, which is thread locker. And then this is R48, which is anaerobic, which is basically thread locker as well. But this is for, let's just take it out. This is for metal on metal parts that don't get exposure to air. So basically the bearings going into the bearing blocks over on, say, this part here. And in the manual, there is a part where it says, this is just a little bit different. It says, Anaerobic Retainer is green penetrating thread locker that is used to fix the metal tube before assembling at temperatures up to 180 degrees Celsius. So I was confused by that in the past. I thought when they were talking about the metal tube, they were talking something about the tail tube, right? And so, but this has nothing to do with the tail tube. This is for the bearings in the kit. So if you were to, this is telling you that they used this when these bearings were put in. And if you remove these bearings, you're going to need this to put them back in. So for the purposes of the build, I mean, these bearings look good. I'm not going to be taking them out. I won't be using this at all. So that's what that's all about. And then this T43 is just, this is, you know, thread locker. So I'm just going to do a really quick inventory. Got the canopy, we've got the swash over there, we've got the frame assemblies, we've got the block, we've got, that is the battery tray section, and that, front transmission, 55 HT. 55 HT is this bag here. Yep, we've got that. 55 HZ9 should be over there. Is in that box. That's our servos. We took those out and looked at them. They're good to go. Micro Beast we have is right over there. 60 HT7. Okay, that's what we haven't seen. Okay, so we are sort of missing something, and that must be here. Here it is. 60 HT7. So this is our tail tube And this is our control arm for the tail assembly. And then these are the support rods in here. And then you've got your tail tube right here with your torque shaft in it. So, and it looks like there's our bearing right there, which is interesting. I kind of thought it would be on there, but I'll figure that out more when I get this open. So there is that package here. Set this aside. And last, but definitely not least, is our blades. And again, I'm not going to totally unpackage these right now. Now, in the past, usually you'd put the blades on a blade balancer and use some stickers to make sure that the blades were balanced. Two of these now, I have put this size blade, well, the 650 and the 500. The blades were perfect. Perfect right out of the package. So setting them on the balancer like that is not really something that you have to worry too much about anymore. My last two sets have been absolutely perfect. I probably will put them on the balancer either way, but my experience with these blades is that they have come out of the package ready to fly on the last two kits that I've built. So that's that, and there's those, and we checked our ESC out, we checked our servos, we had our tail servo in there, our motor we looked at, our pinion is in that bag there. So we've inventoried everything, and we'll take a look at the tools. So I have I have a remote. For the receiver, I'm going to use two satellites, and so those are here. Here's the battery, charger, I have that stuff. Swash plate leveler, I do have the swash plate leveler over here. And so, not something that you 100% have to have, but this is really nice. I mean, I'll say this. Every helicopter that I've set up with the swash plate leveler has been perfect. It doesn't need any adjustments at all. And almost every helicopter I've set up without it, needs a little tweak or whatever, and you're kind of playing around with the FBL afterwards. So I just use it right out of the box, and it comes out perfect every time. We've got our digital pitch gauge, which is in there. This is my toolbox. Multi-function tester. I'm not sure what that's about. I believe this is talking about the programming box for that I'm not sure about. The multi-function tester. I do have a servo checker, which I will check the servos before I put them in. But I'll probably just put them in because I know with this particular model, getting to the servo horns is not bad. I'll probably just install the servos, and then I'll hook up the FBL, and then I'll screw the horns on, so that they're perfectly at 90 degrees. So Phillips head screwdriver, cutter knife, hexagon screwdriver, needle nose pliers, oil, CA glue, grease. I've got all that stuff. The CA glue is for the bearing on the torque tube. I have to be very careful when you put that on. That is something that you really have to be super careful with. This is a part of the build you really... there's two things on the build I'll mention up front that I think they should have really highlighted, and that's when you CA glue the bearing to the drive shaft, you've got to be super careful you don't get any CA glue on the bearing, or that will cause you problems. The other thing that is kind of worth mentioning, I think, that I've had some issues with in the past, and I've seen some other folks have some issues with, is for the tail and the head, and specifically the tail. Let me just get to, specifically on the tail, you've got a lot of these collar screws, okay? So socket collar screws. When you're doing the build, it mentions the Loctite and putting Loctite basically on the end of the screw, the thread locker, and then putting the screws in. Okay, so one technique that you should, I mean, really, anytime you have a collared screw that goes through a fixture or goes through a bearing, you want to make sure that you put that screw through there first, right? So that's so that your collar, the smooth part of the screw, does not get thread locker on it. If you put thread locker on the end of the screw and then put it through the collar, what it's going to do is just spread the thread locker all over this. And about 10 minutes after your head sits there, everything's going to be frozen up, or the tail, right? So just remember, anytime you have one of these socket screws, or collar screws, you want to push the collar through the fixture and then put a little tiny bit of thread locker on the end of the screw, or you can even take the thread locker and put it in the screw hole itself, you know, and then put the screw in. I like to just put a little tiny bit on the thread though. When you're putting it in the hole, the screw tends to push it through, and there's some question as to how much, you know, stays in there. So I could just put a little tiny bit on the threads after they've gone through the fixture. But those are the two things that I would really highlight, or a couple things that I would highlight. The anaerobic retainer is not really used on the build unless you take the bearings out. So you can just kind of set that aside. The CA glue that you use on the tail, you want to be super, super careful when you do it, and don't get it on the bearing. Don't get it on the side of the bearing. You're just gluing the bearing to the drive shaft. And whenever you're doing the head or the tail components and you have that smooth part of the screw, you really want to make sure you don't get any Loctite in that smooth area, or it's going to gum up the head and you have to take everything back apart and clean it off. It's going to eat up a lot of your time. So just make sure when you do that, you do it very carefully. And if you don't go back and do it and you have some Loctite in there, it's going to make it move erratically. So it's definitely something on the build. You know, if I was writing the manual, I think I would have highlighted those three things. Don't need the anaerobic retainer at all unless you take bearings out. When you do the CA glue, make sure you don't get it on the side of the bearing. And with the T43 thread locker, which is not glue, I wouldn't have used that word, but just make sure that if there's a collar on the screw, you put it through the fixture first before you put the thread locker on. So that's it. We got everything here. Usually I would sit down and review this manual right now, but like I said, I downloaded the manual to my iPad, so I went through everything for about an hour and a half yesterday. And like I said, there's a couple things in here we're going to talk about in the build video. But that's everything. Everything looks good. Everything's ready to go. And I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to move some things around and get ready, and we're going to start building it.